They say things come in threes, and when it comes to learning a song, it certainly comes in threes as well. What do I mean by that? You'll just have to see, so let's jump in and get started. If you like this video, don't forget to like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel so that you'll get updated whenever I release a new video each week. If you really like my stuff, check out my Buy Me a Coffee page where I share lots of learning resources and materials that will help you take ownership and give you the tools to make the most of your own ukulele journey. All of my song sheets, weekly challenges and live lessons are on there too. Go and check it out, the Tab Shack or the Jam Hut, and I'll see you there. Okay, so they say it comes in threes. What three things am I talking about? Well, first of all, let me ask you this question. Are you somebody that when you learn a new song, you play that song through again and again and again and again in the hope that it will get better, but it never does? Or are you someone that really takes the time to learn all the different parts of a song, but once you've learned all of the parts, you're over that song and you move on to the next one? You're probably one of two of these types of people. You might be both, depending on the song. But the main thing is you're noticing that you actually don't make progress and the song isn't ready to perform. It's not ready to go out there live and into a crowd, to audiences far and wide, whoever that may be, the cat on the couch or a full stadium. Who knows? Dream big. What I'm here to do today is to explain to you the three different phases that I use when I am learning any song to take it from its very beginning stages all the way up to it becoming performance ready to go to an audience. You might find that you do one of these phases. You might find that you do little bits of both. But hopefully with these three phases, it will give you a better look at how you're currently learning songs and will help you moving forward to take a slightly different approach and spend a little bit more time nurturing it, enjoying the process, and at the end having songs that you love being able to play because you can play them so blooming well. Phase one, the learning phase. When you learn a song, this is when you don't know it and you have to work on all of the individual parts. Some of your focus areas include working on each individual sections, the verse, the chorus, doing everything slowly, breaking it right down, doing a really slow tempo, giving yourself time to hear, see, feel mistakes. Focusing on the chords, the chord changes, the chord progressions. Focusing on what the rhythm and the strumming patterns are, building muscle memory on all of those things, starting to memorise all of those individual elements. Riffs and melodies, learning how to play those, breaking it down, building it back up again. This is all part of the learning phase because you are physically learning how to play the song. There's a lot going on when it comes to a song, but this is all about how to break it down. And we've got to spend time nurturing that and enjoy that. That's when we really start to develop our skills when it comes to learning new techniques, to memorising, and it really helps us improve as players. We might be learning some new chords that we haven't played before, or maybe incorporating some new strumming patterns that we haven't learned before. But the learning phase is where you spend your time really trying to get to grips with every little individual aspect of the song. Normally when we start to learn a new song, all we want is to be able to play it how we're used to hearing it. And what we often forget is it actually takes a lot of time to really learn and understand how to play a song. Most bands and artists and singers that you know spend hours upon hours going through different phases of learning, rehearsing before they can get it performance ready. And even when it's performance ready, there are still things that are always there to be worked on. During the learning phase, it's really important that you track your progress. I think it's a really good thing to do so that you can hear how it sounds at the beginning, because it's something that you can use later on. The learning phase really should take us to that midway point of being able to perform a song, because once you've learned all of the little parts, you're not done. You might be able to stumble through the song, but we're missing out a whole entire phase. If you're someone that normally just jumps onto the next part and jumps onto the next song, normally you spend a lot of time in the learning phase, but never spend it in the next phase, which we're going to talk about now. The rehearsal phase. So you're either someone who spends all of your time in the rehearsal phase because you just play a song, you see a song sheet, you play it right through again and again and again, week in, week out, in the hope that it will get better. But somehow you can't remember the chord progressions, you always stumble over certain strumming patterns, the riff, no chance of you playing that. Do you have the confidence to get it to perform it? Not a chance, I need my song sheet. And a lot of us actually stay in this phase, especially if you go to jams. You probably are in rehearsal phase for a lot of songs, but actually skip out the learning phase of the song. Now the rehearsal phase is really important because this is the part where once you have learned all of your different parts of the song, your chord changes, etc., now it's at the point where you want to practice it over and over again and start playing it the full way through. This is the part when you'll also fine-tune the tiny details, so the little mistakes that you keep tripping over, you'll be tidying those up, you'll be tweaking those. There might be little bits that you want to slightly change, maybe how you strum a certain part going into another part, there might be something there. But the good thing is you can focus on this because you've already spent your time building your foundations, learning all of the parts, that it gives you space to do that in the rehearsal phase. Another really important part of the rehearsal phase is to play at the regular tempo. So rather than playing everything extra slow, you're picking up the pace a little bit as well so that you can play at the regular speed, playing through mistakes. You can add your own personality at this point because you don't really have to think too much about what's going on because you've learned it all in the learning phase. Maybe you want to add some more punchiness to certain parts of the songs. Maybe some bits you want to be louder, some bits softer. Maybe you're going to work on your moves as you're playing. Maybe you're going to work on not looking at your ukulele, but actually looking at what's in front of you, looking at the audience. That you can't do during the learning phase because you probably need to tune into what's going on down here a little bit more. During the rehearsal phase, you do that again and again. Now, the key thing about the rehearsal phase is you've got to play it over and over and over and over and over. It's easy to get bored and want to move on, but the more time you spend in the rehearsal phase, the more confidence you will build and the more confident you will actually be when it comes to performing the song too. If you're playing with others, like if you're in a band like myself, the rehearsal phase is really good for actually practicing with your bandmates and playing again and again and again and again, tightening things up. But this part is the bit that is easy to skim over. You could go from learning phase straight to performance phase, but you'll probably not perform very well because you've not spent the time rehearsing it. Little stepping stone goals here should take you from your midway goal to that performing goal of being able to get it fully ready. During the performance phase, we've learned everything already, we've rehearsed it so many times. Now it's all about stage presence. How are we going to communicate the music to the audience? Are you going to have a visual aid? No, you are not. You don't need your song sheet. You're going to start thinking about your mental prep. So what does it look like before you go on the stage? How do you keep yourself calm? How do you keep the nerves at bay? How do you engage with your audience? How do you remember all of your words? Do you have a set list? Are you prepared? Are you tuned up? Have you got everything that you need? Have you got spare strings? These are all things that are a lot easier to think about if you're not worried about everything else because you've not spent enough time learning it and you've not spent enough time rehearsing it. Before you get to the performance phase, you really want to, a little phrase that's nice to use is practice like you're perform like you've practiced. So when you're practicing and rehearsing, rehearse as if you're about to perform. And when you're performing, the more you've rehearsed, they'll be like, they've practiced because that sounds really, really good. People know when you've not practiced, and that's okay. And it's something that you'll learn with experience. But the more you put in, the more you'll get out of the result. There might be areas of your performance that once you've done it, you might adapt and tweak it. You might change how you engage with the audience. There might be parts that you go back to. And that actually links me back to the next section. There is no definite structure on how you need to go through it. You might always rehearse the song, so you might always be playing it right through, but you might be going back home and tapping into the learning phase and focusing on different parts. You might learn a song from scratch and then you might get it to the rehearsal phase, or maybe you're learning it from scratch and then you start trying to play it through. You might revert back. It might be a song that you've never played or you've not played for a year, and you had it in rehearsal phase, but then you've had to kind of jump back into the learning phase to relearn how to play a riff or relearn a strumming pattern, and then you go back into the rehearsal phase again. So there's always going to be overlap. You might go and perform it and then want to bring it back into the rehearsal phase because you might not think it's fully ready. That's also okay. The most important thing is knowing and understanding what these 3 phases are. A little challenge for you is think about a couple of songs that you know and set out 3 orders or 3 categories: learning, rehearsal, performing, and see which you think each of the songs that you're thinking about, which category they'll go into, and maybe set yourself some goals for each of them. But as I said, the most important thing is to really understand what these phases are and to help you realise that it's actually okay to not be able to play a song perfectly straight away. To also know that it's fun, it's an enjoyable process, and it's so rewarding when you finally get there. It can be frustrating, it can be difficult when you feel like things are really tough, but actually being in that learning phase is so helpful because it's making you get better and better. The rehearsal phase is really going to help with the confidence, and then by the time you perform, you're laughing. So it's just a little bit of food for thought. It's something that I hope you'll start thinking about. Hopefully it will help you. If you do think it's helpful, please let me know what's helpful. What are your tips for these different phases of learning, or do you have another process that you follow? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Check out my Buy Me a Coffee page where I go into this in a lot more detail, and I look forward to seeing you the next time.